strikes.
This has fueled fears of a wider conflict that could engulf the entire region.
The potential for this conflict to escalate has global repercussions. Particularly for energy markets, geopolitical alliances, and regional stability.
Absolutely.
How is India navigating this tense situation?
India has to walk a tightrope.
Maintaining
a balance in its relations with both Israel and Iran.
Both sides.
It has close defense and technology ties with Israel.
Close ties.
And relies on Iran for a portion of its energy imports. A wider conflict would force India to make difficult choices. Potentially jeopardizing its interests in both countries. It's a complex geopolitical puzzle that requires careful diplomacy and strategic maneuvering.
Now let's turn our attention to a concerning incident that took place in Lebanon, involving an attack on UN peacekeepers.
Yeah. This incident, where an Israeli tank fired on a UN observation post, has raised concerns about the fragile security situation in Lebanon. Particularly along the border with Israel. It's a stark reminder of the risks faced by UN peacekeepers, who are often deployed in volatile environments and caught in the crossfire of conflicts.
What is the role of UNIFIL, the UN peacekeeping force in Lebanon, in this volatile context?
UNIFIL's mandate is to monitor the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. And support the Lebanese armed forces in maintaining stability along the border. However, incidents like this recent attack demonstrate the challenges and dangers they face. In trying to maintain peace in a region rife with tensions and mistrust.
It's a reminder of the crucial role that peacekeeping forces play in preventing escalation. And the importance of international cooperation in maintaining peace and security.
Absolutely. And for those of you interested in conflict resolution and the role of international organizations, studying peacekeeping missions, their successes, and the challenges they face is crucial.
Now let's shift focus to Indonesia, where Prabowo Subianto has recently been sworn in as the new president.
His victory and subsequent inauguration have generated considerable interest and debate. Given his controversial past as a military figure with allegations of human rights abuses. However, he has also pledged to prioritize economic development and improve the lives of Indonesians.
It's a leadership transition that could have significant implications for Indonesia's domestic policies, regional relations, and even its stance on global issues.
It will be interesting to see how his presidency unfolds. And whether he prioritizes economic development and social welfare as promised. And how he navigates the complex geopolitical landscape of Southeast Asia and beyond.
Now back to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Where a new and disturbing weapon has emerged. Adding another
layer of complexity and concern to the conflict. Dragon drones. These drones essentially flying incendiary devices. Drop thermite.
A highly flammable material that burns at extremely high temperatures. The use of these weapons raises serious ethical and humanitarian concerns. As they cause indiscriminate damage. Devastating infrastructure. And inflicting horrific burns on human targets.
It's a terrifying new development in warfare. Demonstrating how technology is constantly evolving. And often being used in ways that blur the lines of ethical and legal boundaries.
Blurring those lines.
It's a stark reminder. That as technology advances, so too does the potential for its misuse. It highlights the urgent need for international dialogue and regulations to control the development and deployment of weapons that could cause excessive suffering and indiscriminate harm.
In response to the escalating conflict and the emergence of new threats, the U.S. has announced its decision to send its advanced THAAD missile defense system to Israel.
The deployment of THAAD, which is designed to intercept short and medium-range ballistic missiles. Is a significant development, underscoring the U.S. commitment to Israel's security. However, it also has the potential to further escalate tensions in the region. Particularly with Iran. Which views THAAD as a direct threat to its own security interests.
So while it's intended to deter aggression and protect allies,
deter and protect,
it also risks fueling an arms race and further destabilizing an already volatile region.
It's a reminder that even actions taken with good intentions can have unintended consequences.
Unintended consequences.
And that security measures can sometimes exacerbate tension.
Exacerbating tension.
And create a more volatile environment.
Now let's shift focus to a positive development in South Asia.
Okay, a positive development.
That showcases the potential for regional cooperation.
Cooperation.
The agreement between Nepal and Bangladesh on exporting hydroelectricity through India?
Hydroelectricity. This trilateral agreement is a win-win for all three countries involved.
Win-win.
Nepal, with its abundant hydropower potential,
gets
to export its surplus electricity,
exporting,
earning revenue, and boosting its economy.
Boosting the economy.
Bangladesh, facing energy shortages, gains access to a much-needed clean energy source.
Clean energy?
And India, which facilitates the transmission of electricity through its territory.
Facilitating.
Benefits from transit fees and stronger regional ties.
So many benefits. It's a great example of how collaboration can bring mutual benefits and address shared challenges.
Collaboration.
Promoting both economic development and energy security in the region.
Absolutely. And it highlights the potential for South Asian countries to work together.
Working together.
To leverage their respective strengths and overcome shared challenges.
Now let's talk about the Shanghai Cooperation Organization.
The SCO.
Which recently held its annual summit.
The summit.
Bringing together leaders from its member countries.
The SCO, a Eurasian Political, Economic, and Security Alliance, has been gaining prominence in recent years.
Gaining prominence.
Particularly with the inclusion of India and Pakistan as members.
India and Pakistan.
This year's summit focused on strengthening economic ties and cooperation within the bloc.
Cooperation.
But it was also notable for the participation of India's foreign minister.
A foreign minister?
Marking the first visit of an Indian foreign minister to Pakistan in almost a decade.
That's a significant development.
It is.
Given the historically strained relationship between the two countries.
It is, while there weren't any major breakthroughs on the bilateral front.
No breakthroughs.
The fact that both sides engaged in talks on the sidelines of the summit is a positive sign.
A positive sign.
It suggests a willingness to maintain dialogue and explore avenues for cooperation.
Dialogue.
Even as they navigate their complex and often contentious relationship.
It's a reminder that diplomacy and dialogue, even when fraught with challenges, are essential for maintaining peace and stability.
Peace and stability.
Especially in a region as strategically important as South Asia.
And for UPSC aspirants.
Yes.
Understanding the dynamics within the SKO, the role of India and Pakistan within the bloc, and the potential for cooperation and conflict in this region is crucial.
India also participated in the East Asia Summit.
The East Asia Summit?
Reaffirming its commitment to the Asian centrality principle.
Asian centrality.
And the broader Indo-Pacific region.
India has been actively engaging with ASEAN and other regional partners.
Engaging.
To promote stability, security, and economic prosperity in the Indo-Pacific. The East Asia Summit provides a platform for these discussions. And for coordinating efforts on issues of common concern. Such as maritime security, trade, and climate change.
It's all part of India's broader strategy to build a more inclusive rules-based order in the region.
Inclusive.
Counterbalancing China's growing influence and promoting its own vision for a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Free and open, exactly. And for those of you preparing for the International Relations section of the UPSC.
UPSC prep.
Understanding India's Act East policy, its engagement with ASEAN, and the evolving dynamics in the Indo-Pacific is crucial.
Now let's talk about a topic that's gaining traction in the global development community.
Okay.
Reforming multilateral development banks.
Reforming. MDBs like the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank. Play a crucial role in financing development projects in developing countries. Providing loans, grants, and technical assistance.
I see.
However, there have been growing calls to reform these institutions.
As for reform.
To make them more effective, transparent, and responsive to the evolving needs of developing countries.
What are some of the key areas where reform is being sought?
Well, the calls for reform focus on increasing the lending capacity of MDBs.
Lending capacity?
Streamlining their procedures to make funding more accessible.
More accessible.
And less bureaucratic.
Less bureaucratic.
And enhancing their accountability to the countries they serve.
Accountability?
There's also a push for greater transparency in their decision-making, processes.
Transparent.
And for a more equitable distribution of voting power to better reflect the voices of developing countries.
So it's about ensuring that these institutions are truly serving the interests of developing countries.
Serving interests.
And evolving to meet the challenges of the 21st century.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that even seemingly established institutions require periodic reform.
Periodic reform.
To stay relevant, effective, and aligned with the changing global landscape.
Now let's dive into some developments that are particularly relevant for those of you focusing on economics.
Economics.
The government has announced some changes to the remission of duties and taxes on exported products scheme.
Okay.
The RoDTEP scheme.
The RoDTEP scheme is designed to enhance the competitiveness of Indian exports.
Indian exports.
By refunding certain taxes and duties that aren't covered under regular export benefits. The latest modifications include the introduction of a digital platform for quicker and more efficient processing of claims.
A digital platform. So it's about simplifying procedures, reducing bureaucratic hurdles.
Simplifying.
And making it easier for exporters to avail themselves of these benefits.
Easier access.
And on the labor front, there's good news for workers.
Good news.
The government has announced an increase in minimum wages.
Minimum wages. Yes, this move aims to provide relief to workers who are facing the pressures of rising living costs.
Rising costs.
The revision involves adjustments to the variable dearness allowance.
Dearness allowance.
Which is directly linked to inflation.
Inflation.
Ensuring that wages keep pace with the increasing cost of essential goods and services.
Keeping pace. It's a crucial measure to protect the purchasing power of workers. Particularly those in lower income brackets.
Lower income.
And ensure a basic standard of living.
It's a testament to the government's commitment to social welfare. And protecting the most vulnerable sections of society from the adverse impacts of inflation.
Now let's talk about a major infrastructure project that's been inaugurated in Maharashtra.
The
Bidkin Industrial Area.
The Bidkin Industrial Area. This newly developed industrial park is a significant step towards attracting businesses. Generating employment opportunities.
Jobs.
And stimulating economic growth in the region. It boasts state-of-the-art facilities. Excellent connectivity. And a world-class infrastructure designed to cater to the needs of modern industries.
It's a prime example of how strategic investments in infrastructure can create a conducive environment.
Strategic investments.
For businesses to thrive, generate jobs, and contribute to overall economic development.
Exactly. And it aligns with the government's focus on creating industrial corridors. And promoting manufacturing as a key driver of economic growth and job creation.
There's also been news about initiatives aimed at creating job opportunities for young people. A critical demographic for India's future. The government is launching a pilot program called the Yuva Yochana. This program aims to provide valuable work experience and enhance the employability of young people. By offering them internship opportunities in various sectors. It's a collaborative effort between the government and private companies. Leveraging the resources and expertise of both. To create meaningful training opportunities. So it's about bridging the gap between education and employment. Providing young people with practical skills and exposure to real-world work environments.
Real-world experience.
Making them more competitive in the job market.
Right, and it's also about fostering a culture of mentorship and collaboration. Between the government, academia, and the private sector. Recognizing that preparing young people for the workforce is a shared responsibility.
The government has also extended the Samarth scheme. Which focuses on skill development in a specific sector.
The textile industry.
The Samarth scheme plays a vital role in equipping workers in the textile and apparel industry. With the necessary skills and knowledge to stay competitive in the global market. It's a demand-driven program that offers training and upskilling opportunities tailored to the needs of the industry. Ensuring a skilled workforce and enhancing the overall competitiveness of the Indian textile sector.
It's an important initiative, especially considering the size and potential of the Indian textile industry.
Important.
Which is a significant contributor to the economy and provides employment to millions of people.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to the government's recognition of the need for continuous skill development and adaptation.
Skill development.
To keep pace with the evolving demands of the global marketplace.
Now remember our earlier discussion about the power of geographical indication tags.
GI tags. Well, Bodoland is seeking to obtain these coveted tags for some of their unique products.
That's right. They're aiming to secure GI tags for their special rice beer varieties.